Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. It is Wednesday, March 18th. Boys, I'm glad you're here. It is 7 p.m. Let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kelly Lynn, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Andreessen.
Good evening.
Mrs. Briscoe. Mr. Bush. Mrs. McMillan.
Here.
Mrs. Ost. Mrs. Tunney.
Here.
Mrs. Zielinski.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we will start tonight's meeting with our student spotlight. We have our kindergarten teacher team here, as well as a student from each of our kindergarten classes, and they are going to share a small glimpse into their social studies learning that's happening right now in kindergarten. In their current unit called What's in My Neighborhood, students have been exploring places that make up a community, and they've also learned how to start to read a map. So they've been talking about buildings, helpers in the community, locations that help our town work together. And as part of the learning, the teachers then connected their classroom studies to the real places that they see every day in Mokena. So tonight, they're going to be sharing some of those places that they've been learning about in Mokena and how it helps build our community and our neighborhood. And then they're also going to be showing off their newly learned map skills by showing us where those places are on a map. All right, so we will have our kindergarten students come up as well as our teachers.
Good job with our practice.
Do you want me to be the microphone holder?
Sure.
Okay.
And I think we need to switch the line this way just because that was
So move them down. Come on, guys, this way. This way. Follow me. Follow.
that way we're not bothered.
Yeah. Keep coming. Come this way again. Hi.
No, turn around.
Okay.
Sorry. Perfect. Good idea. More people here than when we practiced this morning. So. A little rearranging.
This way. You're behind him.
Okay.
You're not.
All right.
She's supposed to be there. Piece of it. Okay, you're right here.
Right.
Sure.
So then they can come right up here.
Okay. Okay, come on. See what my name is? Come over here. Right here. You're doing a great job.
I'm a little scared.
See, that's okay. It's okay to be scared, so am I. We're going to do it together. Ready? My name is...
My name is Jacob.
Okay, Jersey.
This is the grocery store. This is where we buy food to eat.
Turn it this way. There you go.
I
Yep, you got it. Good job. Okay. Yay. You can come back over here. Go on this side. Okay. Come on, Waddy. Got this.
My name is Wadi. This is the post office. This is the post office. This is where we send and receive mail. My name is Eli. This is the fire station. This is where firefighters work and keep us safe. Hi, my name is Reese. This is the train station. This is where we get on and off the train. I'm Elizabeth. This is the park. This is where we play and have fun. Hi, my name is Celine. This is the school. This is where we learn new things and make friends. My name is Hobby. This is the library, and this is where we borrow books and enjoy stories.
Good job.
All right, let's give one more big round of applause to our students.
Good job, guys.
And I'd also like ask for us to give a round of applause for our teachers who have put a lot of work into not just our social studies unit, but all they do in our classrooms as well. We appreciate all that
Right, and then we'll get a picture.
Okay. Yep. And we practice lining up over here to get a picture with your teachers. Okay, so we'll go in front of the map and then we'll get some pictures. Okay. And then before you sit down, we have a little special thank you to you.
Hey, everybody, we're going to take a short 5-minute break, so if anyone wants to take pictures by the board, that's okay. Okay, now we're on to the next phase. Nice seeing you all tonight. Before we get started with public comments, a couple nice little housekeeping things. You're welcome to come up here. We have 3 speakers that would like to come up. You have 3 minutes. Let's try to respect that time so we can respect everything else. Little other things. Anyone who intends to speak about a specific student is encouraged to continue to engage with the administration regarding their concerns. We do not support disparaging individual students during public comment, and we encourage the adults in the community to set a positive example for our children. Speakers are reminded that they are not immune from defamation or slander for statements made during public comment. And with that, Jackie Stojak, you are up first. Thank you for coming tonight.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to express my concerns as a parent and a staff member regarding the administration's failure to adequately address ongoing safety issues. I want to be very clear that my purpose tonight is not to create conflict. My goal is to ensure that students can learn and teachers can teach without constant fear or disruption. The situations have become serious enough that the administration has created a crisis team and a designated safe word to alert staff, leaving many of us feeling anxious and panicked. Since September, a student has engaged in conduct that violated Chapter 6 of the Student Handbook. These include acts of assault and battery toward other students and Principal McAtee himself. When students repeatedly elope from classrooms, the crisis team is called. Teachers are forced to leave their own classrooms in order to initiate an urgent response. This causes significant liability concerns. The administration's focus has been to extensively accommodate one behavioral situation rather than protecting the entire school. Administration has the audacity to rationalize the student's behavior while victim shaming the other students. This student continues to receive full privileges within the school. This creates the perception that defiance and harmful behavior are tolerated while other students suffer the emotional impact. Many staff and parents have brought these concerns to Principal McAtee. The responses have been delayed, inadequate, or simply ignored. Staff morale is tremendously low. 3 days ago, Principal McAtee sent an email requesting to meet with parents. It's difficult to ignore the timing. It gives the appearance that the administration is now scrambling to respond to concerns that have been raised repeatedly for months. Schools have a legal and ethical responsibility to maintain a safe learning environment. This is why I respectfully request that the Board of Education take action. I ask that the board visit our school to observe the environment firsthand and speak directly with staff. I ask that the board examine all data reports, referrals, and documentation collected from teachers, the BCBA, the school social worker, and the school nurse. I ask that the board investigate why these issues have continued and the accountability within the school's leadership, including the students' years at MES. I request that every letter and email that the district has received be included for public record and considered during your review. The administration's solution was to hire a full-time certified substitute teacher in the classroom. Can the board explain how this is fiscally responsible for the district and how it addresses the root safety concerns that have been raised? This student deserves the appropriate setting, support, and resources they clearly need. Continuing to move them through the system without meaningful intervention is not helping them. The administration is setting them up to fail. Why won't you help this student? Thank you for your time, your service, the district, and your attention for this serious matter.
Thank
That
you
was
for coming.
Right on.
Lauren Ball, you're up next.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and Superintendent. My name is Lauren Ball. I'm a parent of a student at Mokena Intermediate School. I am here tonight following the classroom incident on February 26, 2026, in which my daughter was physically injured by another student. This experience has raised serious concerns regarding student safety and the systems in place to support both students and staff. During the class, another student was forcefully twisted my daughter's wrist after she repeatedly asked the student to stop engaging in distracting behavior. The injury required medical evaluation, caused significant pain and distress. While I understand the student conflicts can occur, physical injury in the supervised class setting is deeply concerning. I want to acknowledge the dedication of our teachers and school staff. They manage complex classrooms, environments, and support a wide range of students' needs each day. My concerns is not about individual performance, but whether the systems, resources, and safety structures in the place are sufficient and fully support them while they are protecting all students. When incidents like this occur without meaningful intervention by administration, we do a disservice not only to the student who was harmed, but also to the student who caused the harm and every child in the classroom. Children learn boundaries, empathy, and appropriate behavior through guidance, structure, and consistent expectations. When harmful actions are minimized or treated as isolated moments, rather than opportunities for support and correction, we risk the message that this type of behavior is acceptable without consequence. As adults entrusted with the safety and development, we must ensure that students who struggle with impulse control, aggression, and social conflict receive appropriate assistance, behavioral support, and clear direction. Ignoring or downplaying these situations does not protect anyone. It allows patterns to continue and can place students and staff at risk. Addressing concerns proactively is not about punishment. It's about teaching preventative and maintaining a safe learning environment. This incident underscores the need to continue district-level focus on student safety. I respectfully ask the board and district leadership to review safety protocols, incidents, reports, and procedures with families and support to help prevent these situations to escalating to injury. Parents place extraordinary trust in our students each day. When a child is hurt in the classroom, it must serve as an opportunity to strengthen safeguards and prevent future harm. Every child deserves to learn and grow in an environment where they feel safe. I respectfully ask the board to not only acknowledge the concern, but to take clear and measurable action with our children deserve more than reassurance. They deserve visible commitment and meaningful improvement. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Jancia Duke.
Am I good to start? Good evening. My name is Shanasa, and I am here to discuss the educational and safety concerns that I have for my student, the other students in this district, and the faculty that this administration has been failing year after year. Your district needs a serious reevaluation of our anti-bullying policy, behavioral intervention plans, and safety plans for your staff and students. This school district seems to think it's acceptable to push bullies through elementary to intermediate, then to junior high, and then it's no longer your issue after you have taught bullies how to become larger abusers and how to manipulate the system. Blamed the victims for provoking their abuser and telling our children they are fine because they have not been physically assaulted when their grades are being directly affected. The parents of your district are scared to send their children to school. The children are concerned for their own safety at 9 and 10 years old. We are having to counsel our children and excuse behavior we would never allow our children to endure. Your staff is being assaulted and threatened, and there is no one backing them up. They need your help. Our students need your help. And you all sit here year after year and do nothing to help us. If I spit in your faces, I would be immediately removed from this room. If I broke a bone on any of your bodies, I would be arrested. If anyone hit any of you in the face with a Chromebook, I would have assault charges put upon me. Now, these are all examples of instances that have happened to our students that they have had to endure, and they have to go and sit in a breakout room with their abuser and mediate the situation that they will know that they will in fact be abused again. I will not sit by and watch my third child be bullied in this district with you all sitting here doing nothing to protect anyone but the bully. This is not a conducive learning or work environment you all have been harboring for years. What will you do when you get a phone call that that a faculty member or student lost their lives due to your negligence? Whether it be they took their own life for the inability to deal with the bullying anymore, or one of the students holds true to the threats they have placed and actually takes a life. Will you be able to live with yourselves and sleep at night with the loss on your shoulders? This situation needs immediate intervention for the safety of all that are involved. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Staff communication, anything from MTA? Okay. MCSA? Okay. Action requests. Would someone like to start off?
Mr. President, I move to amend the minutes of February 18, 2026 meeting under the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120-2.06. Minutes must include a summary of discussion of all matters proposed, deliberated, or decided. The current draft fails to summarize the specific concerns raised by the draft proposed fails to summarize the discussions had by board members throughout the meeting. So for that reason, I move to amend the minutes.
I'll second for discussion.
I have discussion. Point of inquiry. The superintendent stated that the board secretary was directed to strip these summaries in the minutes. Who is giving that direction? No individual has the authority to order an officer of the board secretary, to violate the Open Meetings Act. My point of inquiry is who is giving the board secretary the direction, as stated by the superintendent, that the minutes should be presented in this manner?
We consulted with our board attorney, and our board attorney said that our minutes, the way they're presented, is completely fine.
The point of inquiry is who is giving direction to the board secretary. The superintendent reported that the board secretary is producing the minutes as directed. So my point of inquiry is who is giving the board secretary that direction?
That would be my direction.
Okay, so the motion is to amend the minutes so that the summary of discussion in alignment with the Illinois Open Meetings Act be included in the official meeting minutes of the meeting in February 18th.
The Board of Education, the majority of the Board of Education, we have always done our minutes this way. We will continue to do our minutes this way unless the majority of the school board decides to change the way we've been doing our minutes. You've been on the board 3 years, Kelly, and we've always done it this way. So why in the last 3 months are you demanding, when you're only one school board member, to have everything changed? This is not what we've been doing.
I request a roll call vote on my motion to postpone and to amend the minutes. I request a roll call vote on my motion to amend the minutes in alignment with Illinois Open Meetings Act.
I don't know if that would be appropriate considering no one has discussed what they would be amended to, and they meet the guidance by our legal counsel.
I have,
I made a
would like
motion,
to-
the motion was seconded,
Right,
and then I
now
asked
we're
for
in
a roll call
discussion.
vote.
We're in discussion.
We're in discussion.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry,
I-
I thought you said that you would not allow for a roll call vote when I called for a roll call vote.
And we always have a roll call vote. Oh, thank you. I do see that our policy does state a summary of the discussion. And Mr. Gurney has stated that he brought that to the attorney. And while I'm not an attorney, I trust that since that was brought to our attorney and he has stated that it meets the policy, I am not one to override that since I don't have a legal degree. I also just want to point out that there's nothing wrong with the minutes. Unless you have something that the minutes are wrong, have presented the wrong vote or something of that nature. I don't see a reason to vote no on them. Mr. Gurney, you agree with that you brought a summary of the discussion, that issue to our attorney, then, right?
Yes, our
Okay.
attorney,
Okay, thank you.
A point of clarity here, the minutes show no discussion. So if anybody wants to reference these minutes, there are multiple items that, for example, the action request, the very first action request, approval of the previous month's minutes, there's no discussion on that line item, when in fact I did have a discussion. So there's an absence. So there's not even a note there saying that discussion was had. Just so you all can look at it.
and I can circle back to our board attorney as far as that piece, that a discussion was had about this topic. When I read this, Mrs. Briscoe moved to approve the MIS roof replacement. I'm making an assumption that there was a discussion that happened.
We have, the board approved at the beginning of the year that there would be recordings of the minutes. I think that there's technology now that would easily produce a meeting transcript if it makes it easier to produce these minutes to make sure that they are accurate on what the discussion was had. I'm suggesting it. This is discussion. I have the floor right now. I appreciate not getting interrupted. So I'm just suggesting it as a means to get a transcript to produce the minutes in an accurate way without assuming that discussion was not had when it was. I request a roll call vote. The motion is on the floor.
I have a problem with the motion because it includes the word amended, but it did not dictate amended to what. I think it's an incomplete motion because I don't know exactly what you're trying to change. No one has been able to review or summarize the potential amendment you're talking about. If it is the will of the board to take a vote on her motion, but it was incomplete.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Robert's rules says that if somebody makes a motion, the motion was seconded, I'm asking for a roll call vote. It's not up for one person to determine whether my motion was okay or not. The motion is on the floor. It was seconded. I'm asking for a roll call vote as I said it. I ask that the meeting minutes be amended to reflect actual discussion had last month per Illinois Open Meetings Act, which we're obligated to follow. No, I did not say that. That was one example I gave. I think we need to look at the video or however, whatever the means is, and maybe it's just the way the minutes are being kept. I don't know. I'm not trying to insinuate in any way that they're not being kept right. I'm just saying that the records produced are not, in my opinion, compliant with OMA per the clause that discussion in an open meeting needs to be summarized. Any and all discussion deliberated or discussed during an open meeting. I gave an example, one example of many examples that exist. When you look at the video from last month, there was substantial discussion, and it was not noted in the meeting. So in the meeting minutes. So I again, there you go.
Okay, so again, like I said, I just want to make sure do not want to say discussion was held about this stuff. Or he said it.
There is no mention of any discussion when discussion was had.
It says discussion was had about the minutes. That's the sentence that is in the minutes. So
I'm sorry, are you looking at, what, are you looking?
18th open session.
Uh-huh.
It is section 7A, approval of previous minutes. It reads, Mrs. Briscoe moved to approve minutes from the January 21st regular meeting. Motion was seconded by Mr. Zawoski. Discussion was held about the minutes.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So I normally there's a cleave, a distinction between the recommended motion and then the discussion and then the roll call. But yeah, my contention is that a simple statement saying that discussion was held is not actually a summary of the discussion held, which is required via Illinois Open Meetings Act.
Point of reference that people are thrown around legal codes a lot and talk about Open Meetings Act. I don't want anybody thinking there's a potential vote on the floor that makes it look like people are not following the Open Meetings Act. We are following the guidance of our attorney who has history and understanding that. That being said,
Excuse me, can I just say that's your opinion, and your opinion needs to be just that. You are not the legal authority to rule and say whether we are or not in compliance with the law. I'm stating that I don't think we are, and I'm asking that we document summary of discussion as required by the law. I am not saying we're breaking the law, but I think my interpretation of what you just said is that we are not breaking the law, and that is your opinion. That is not a fact.
well, you read a paragraph, and if I heard it correctly, and it's been a minute since we did, it insinuated the board was breaking OMA by not following your guidance, is how I took it. And if that's not your intention, would you like to clarify with a amendment to your motion?
No, I would not.
Following the legal guidance.
No, but what you just said is that we are not breaking the law. And what I'm saying is that is your opinion. That is not a fact.
Mr. Andreessen, Ms. Lynn, are you clear on what the motion is? I just want to make sure that you're following the motion that's on the floor.
I have that a motion was made to amend the minutes, but not really specifically the verbatim information that you would like it to be amended to.
Do you want me to
Sure.
reread it? My motion.
So I can get it right.
My motion, and there's video, so you can
Of
listen.
course.
I move to amend the minutes of February 18, 2026 meeting under the Illinois Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/2.06. Minutes must include a summary of discussion on all matters proposed, deliberated, or decided.
Go ahead, call it. Call the question.
I'm going on record. I am not exactly clear exactly what these amended motions are. What you're looking to amend the minutes to. I have not heard. I want to add this part in here. it's honestly too ambiguous for me. That being said, if you guys would like to call the vote, so be it.
Am I calling the vote?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Mrs. Ost.
Yes. No. Sorry.
This is the motion to.
This is just the motion on the motion to amend. No. So sorry.
Okay.
Mrs. Tunney?
No.
Mrs. Zelinski?
No.
Mr. Andreessen?
No.
Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
No.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
I move to approve minutes from the February 18th, 2026 regular meeting and closed session as presented.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, let's go.
Mrs. Briscoe? Yeah. Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
No.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen?
Yes. Lisa, thank you for working on the bills this month.
I request the Bear construction payment be separated from the bills list for a standalone vote.
Thank you, Dr. Shaw, for taking time out for me today and going through all of those and everything. I appreciate it. I move to approve the monthly bills as presented.
Second.
Excuse me, I spoke first and I requested the Bear construction payment be separated from the bills for a standalone vote.
In all fairness, Lisa had not shared anything yet. There's a motion on the floor. If you would like to ask for an amendment to that motion, you have that ability.
I move to amend the motion, even though I spoke first. I don't think that's in alignment with Robert's rules, but I will comply with your request. I move to amend the motion to approve all as presented. This is a package of bills that works similar to the consent agenda that we should, as board members, be able to separate out and require two separate votes or however many separate votes as necessary.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be difficult here, but when it's not in the proper form of making a motion, so I'm unclear. I don't mean to be difficult, but there should be no explanation with a motion. There should just be a motion, and then it has to be seconded before we have a discussion. So I'm very unclear about what the motion is to amend.
Would you like to clarify your idea?
My request was that the Bear construction payment be separated out for a separate vote.
That being said, would anyone like to second that?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
Okay, so
Would you,
I-
now that we're at discussion, would you like to share your thoughts on that?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I would. Thank you. So the reason that I want to separate out the Bear construction payment, which is $133,181, is because I had put in a request for a copy of the executed contract. And an executed contract is required, which should go without saying, before payment is made and expenditures are made out of the district. The board did not receive the executed contract for the Bear construction. So we have included in this payment run $133,000. We have no contractual obligation provided to the board. Furthermore, I'm concerned that the contractor was required to provide a performance bond. So we've not seen that either. And that is, per 30 ILCS 550. The board was provided proposal, and the board was provided some documentation showing that Bear Construction was part of a cooperative, and it wasn't anything really formal except like a couple letters, which isn't really relevant in my mind. But regardless, there is an absence of a contract here in this payment. So that is the reason that I would like to remove the Bear Construction payment from the rest of the bills and force two separate votes here.
Go ahead.
The three documents provided, two of those were the Omni Co-op partnership agreements with Bear Construction. We use the National Joint Purchasing Cooperative to find vendors that have been fully, for their services, have been through the bid letting process and vetting process through the National Joint Purchasing Cooperative, which we are a member. And since they have performance contracts with the cooperatives, we do not have to go through a bid process or hold an AIA contract with those vendors. We have the ability to contract through our co-op with the vendors for services that they provide. So the contract numbers with Bear and Omni was provided, and we don't have formal contracts with Bear. We have a contract with Omni. Omni has been through the bidding process and vetting process with their subcontractors. So it's not something that we've done in the past, nor is it something that's legally required for us to do when we procure a vendor through the cooperative. That's part of one of the benefits of being a member of the cooperative.
So my position is that being a member of a cooperative opens the door to be able to have us get competitive pricing from a group of districts or organizations that all solicit the same service from vendors, to be able to negotiate more competitive pricing. That is what we are doing when we join the cooperative. That is separate, completely separate from once we get that pricing and we choose that contractor, we have an obligation to get a contract with the contractor for a scope of work, terms and conditions, performance bond, the whole thing, just like we would do for any other contract, no matter who we're buying it from or how we're buying it. Purchasing it through a cooperative does not alleviate the requirement that we have to have executed contracts prior to making payments. And that's what I'm hearing. I can tell you that we have not been provided the contract with Bear Construction, and we really weren't provided any contract. We were provided a proposal, and we were provided what looked to me, and maybe this was a mistake, but what I saw was two letters of contract award. They were not terms and conditions. And Illinois code, the way I interpret it, is puts upon this school district that we have the duty to have these documents in place before we spend taxpayer money. To date, I've asked about this $133,000 payment, and I've not seen anything showing the obligation that the district has to pay this money, or that we're paying the right amount. This varies from the action item that the board approved. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but that's things that we would establish by looking at the contract, which we don't have. So at this point, that's my reason. I want to separate them out so we can vote separately. And it should work like a consent agenda item where you're separating out consent agenda items for two different votes, or however many there is.
Anyone else like to chime in on this topic?
Mr. Gurney, have you talked to the district's attorney about one interpretation versus how we've operated using Omni and their contract?
I have not.
Dr. Shaw, if we, have you talked to our attorney previously about the use of the Omni contract as our contract and Bear operating under that before? Has this,
I have.
you have?
I have. We are under no obligation to have a contract with Bear. We're operating under the Omni contract. And if it's available to us through the Omni Purchasing Cooperative, we can purchase through Omni.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shaw.
Okay, that being said, there is two parts to the motion. There is what I will say is part A, which is the monthly bills, and B, which is for Bear Construction. If we move to separate. Kelly Lynn, help me out for a minute because it's been a minute. As it stands right now, are we still operating under the original motion as printed? I think there was an amendment to have them separated. I believe that to be correct.
So there was the original motion and then there was an amendment to have them separated.
I just wanted to
Correct.
clarify. Thank you.
Mhm.
So that being said, I will make the motion to approve the monthly bills as presented without Bear Construction, which will be on the second vote in a moment.
You didn't vote on either
I was
motion,
just, I'm
so-
trying to be clear. I'm just trying to be
I
clear.
know. Our roll call vote right now is to decide if we're going to separate.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do that. Let's do that. That's fine.
Yes.
Just trying to be fair to everybody. Trying to. Okay, that being said, roll call vote. This is if we are going to separate them out. Kelly Lynn, on you.
Okay. Mrs. Tunney. Mrs. Zelinski.
No.
Mr. Andreessen.
No.
Mrs. Briscoe.
No.
Mr. Bush.
No.
Mrs. McMillan.
Yes.
Mrs. Ost.
No.
Okay, we are back to the original motion to approve the monthly bills as presented. Let's go with a roll call vote on that, please.
Mr. Bush.
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan.
No.
Mrs. Ost.
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney.
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski.
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen.
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe.
Yes.
I move to approve personnel recommendations 6C 1 through 9 as presented, subject to successful background check and verifications of credentials if applicable.
Second.
Thank you. Julie, comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a very big night for our teachers and staff, for the people following the vote here. We have 12 teachers, first-year teachers that are up for approval for the second year. And we have 10 second-year teachers that are up for a vote to get into year 3. And the most important thing, being married to a teacher, I think that a teacher can do is getting a tenure status. We have 10 teachers. I just want to acknowledge those 10 teachers tonight for a job well done. I won't say last names because as Mr. Munch and Dr. Rolanich knew, I'm always the last guy you want to call for graduation saying names. I will say some of them wrong and I apologize. So I'm just not even going to put myself in that position. So congratulations to these teachers. Sarah, Lauren, Casey, Noel, Kristen, Brian, Hannah, Teresa, Danielle, and Jennifer.
Love it. Great comment. Thank you. That being said, let's get moving. Yes. Sorry, I'm having fun. This is an exciting moment. I love this part.
Mrs. McMillan.
Yes.
Mrs. Ost.
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney.
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski.
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen.
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Bush.
Yes. I
Love it.
think once again, congratulations to all those teachers.
Takes a lot of good people to make this stuff happen. Thank you.
I move to approve consent agenda item 6D1 as presented.
Comments? Hearing none. Let's go.
Mrs. Ost.
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney.
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski.
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen?
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
Second. Comments?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank everybody around the table and our administration for hearing the community. And, I said this last month, you brought it up at the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee. We made changes according to that. After one draft came out last month, we made changes again. And I think it just demonstrates that you're listening and you're responding. And it seems to me that people are pleased with this this new version. My only point of clarity is in the event of I believe what was said previously was that the November election day was previously made into a holiday by the governor at the last minute. And so right now we have that, I think, as a e-learning day. And so in the event that it does get put in as a holiday, are we able to roll with that change, or is that going to push us out into that next Monday after, or two, you know what I mean, after Memorial Day? That would be.
If the governor move forward with that, I think we'd have a discussion about what we want to do.
Okay, so we would have the opportunity to amend it some other way then. Okay, thank you.
Just a quick comment. Go ahead. So, I like the calendar. However, we're only allowed 5 e-learning days per year. And us at the junior high using 2 of them for election days leaves the junior high with 3 e-learning days before we would have to. So my concern there is if we have extreme weather, something happens that we need more than 3 e-learning days at junior high, those students will have to go longer under the current plan if something like that happens. So that's a concern. So I guess my question or request to Mr. Gurney would be to request or ask the Will County Clerk's office on why the junior high has to be a polling place, because it is very disruptive to our learning environment. So we have lots of other options. We have churches, we have libraries, we have the rec center. I know I go to Mokena, the Oaks. I can tell you there's 3 polling places and they use 1/3 of that gym. They could easily fit, I think, every polling place in Mokena in that gym. And they got 2 gyms now. So I would just request that, we understand why we have to be a polling place, because it is very disruptive to our learning environment.
I agree, and we can definitely circle back to it.
Mrs. Tunney? Mrs. Linsky?
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen?
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes. Second.
Yes. I would request that we get a contract with the company for the work for $833,000. And if in fact the plan is to not do that, would you please advise the board and follow up on legal guidance that says that that's okay and that we're protected with performance bond in some other way? If there's no contract, I don't see how they would be obligated to bond their performance.
Mrs. Linsky?
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen? Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney?
I move to approve a contract with Early American Concrete and Asphalt in the amount not to exceed $10,866 to complete the seal coating of the MIS hard surface play area, the MES north parking lot, and the Willowcrest Lane as presented.
Mr. Andreessen?
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney? Mrs. Linsky?
I move to approve a contract with Rose Paving LLC in an amount not to exceed $40,275 to complete the asphalt removal and replacement for the MJHS Circle Drive as presented.
Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney? Mrs. Linsky? Mr. Andreessen?
I move. No, you're good. Second.
Lincoln, thank you for working on this. It's a nice project. You really caught a good deal on here, and it saves the taxpayers money, and I appreciate the effort. Thank you.
Yes. Just a point of clarity. I talked to Mr. Gurney about this. I don't have this right in front of me. It's about $99,000. Is that the right number? Okay, so say, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong person. $100,000. So just, you know, we are on a cash basis for our financials, and so this is expenditure for next fiscal year, which should hit next year. You know, and so like if we could add something into that contract to show that payment terms is happening after June 30th, we're securing the pricing, and you know, but the actual cash doesn't hit until the fiscal year 27 budget. That's the plan. Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost?
Yes.
Mrs. Tunney? Mrs. Linsky? Mr. Andreessen?
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe?
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, with the Will County Regional Office of Education as presented.
Before we do that, could I say a few words? Okay, absolutely. We have had this particular type of role for the number of years in Illinois, and I'm really excited to bring this to Mokena. This particular first year with this role will cost us $35,000, which we're going to pay out of IDEA grant money. In addition, after this year, it's going to cost us around $280 to have a staff member help some of our families and students that struggle the most. We have shared attendance data here with the community. In addition, I've shared referral data with the board, and it'll also support some of our homeless students that we have here in the district. I'm really, really excited about this, especially based on the cost and the partnership with the Will County Regional Office of Education. They're taking care of half of this cost for us, which is a huge help. So they're going to pay $35,000. We're going to pay $35,000. And I'm really excited to be able to offer this. It's not something for anyone outside of Mokena. The 32 kids that we're going to support are here in Mokena currently at either MIS or MJHS. We hope the House bill passes soon, and that will open it up, if it goes through, K through 12. Currently, it's 4th through 12th. But if we just focus on 4th through 8th grade, we've got a lot of kids that could use some additional support. And I'm so excited for the board to even consider this. And I appreciate all the thoughtfulness that went into the parent communication over the last week or so. I apologize, because what I'd like to do is have this as information one month and action the next. So when I first heard about this the first week of February, I said, this is wonderful. Tell me more. But the price tag was $70,000. And I said, we can't do this right now. It's $70,000. The Will County ROE circled back to me the first week of March and said, we'll pay for half. And I was thrilled. but that meant pushing it a little quicker than I'd like to here in Mokena. And I really appreciate that flexibility because I think this is going to help us in the long run with kids that are struggling in our schools.
And I know there's been a fair amount of discussion in our community. I know that this has been a short time thing, and sometimes you're running under deadlines that are not our own. And I wanted to clarify those things so that I knew what was going on.
The deadline that Jim Andreessen is referencing is March 31st for us to apply to even consider this process with the ALUP person. So we're excited about this.
I have a couple things I want to say. So thank you, Bob, for updating the board. The board submitted a number of questions on this, and we did see a good amount of community members that were commenting and writing to the board. I called and I spoke with the person at the Illinois Board of Education today that as well as the region, and they were both very pleasant. I meant to acknowledge them both right now, and I forgot their names, but they were very informative. They assured me that, that this is only for our kids, and they went into that detail, and so I feel comfortable that this is going to be a good thing for our students and something that will expand the capabilities that we have now. One thing that I just wanted to also say is that you provided a job description, and the regional program gentleman that I spoke with was very specific that this wasn't, it wasn't teaching that was going on. It was kind of just supporting outside of the classroom. So I think that's an important thing. People may think that this is some specific sideline teaching that's happening, but this is not a teacher classroom thing. It's a pull and it's a push in model. And so I think that there was some other confusion about how potentially people a different model was pulling students out of the district and bringing them somewhere else, whereas this is pushing someone in to help support our students, only 4 through 8. So thank you.
Mr.
Yes,
Andreessen?
Julie. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure everybody gets covered.
Sure,
You got
thank you. I want to thank Mr. Gurney for providing the details. I had a lot of questions. I know several folks had questions, including the community. I've taken all of that in. You provided the data about the different students that could benefit from this type of a program. This type of a program, and I hate to put Ms. Munt on the spot, but it reminds me of something that used to be provided, a wrap service or something like that. Would you mind if I asked to kind of, is this similar to that? Because we used to offer that and it helped a lot of students. Could you speak to that at all?
Absolutely. So I don't know if WRAP stands for anything, but we consider it WRAP services, wrapping around the family to help support students and their families with needs that they're experiencing. So if we look at students who receive McKinney-Vento services, those students are considered homeless. They have transportation needs. They have food insecurities. They have a lot of different things that they're struggling with. And one of the big things is sometimes priorities of daily living trump attendance at school. So partnering with those families to make for sure our students are able to get to school, have their needs met, so they're prepared to learn. The wrap services were provided by a social worker in the past, and this was a line item. I don't know if it was in IDA or something else, but that person became very, very popular in Will County and in DuPage County. I actually spoke to her 2 years ago to see if her services could be brought to Lamont while I was there, and her plate was so full she could not expand that. So to hear that this opportunity is provided through Will County ROE it's a wonderful opportunity, and through the IDA grant we're able to look at early intervention, and I see this as very appropriate funding to help intervene when families need it, to be proactive and move away from reactive as much as possible. I talk a lot. Is there anything I missed there?
That was really helpful to me.
It really is. It really is.
Exactly.
Globally.
And one of my other concerns was making sure that our staff liked and supported this program. I understand that the principals, Ms. Munt, and others are supportive of that. And that, I want to support what our staff would like to see as support for them as well. So I'm pleased to support this.
Can I say one more thing? Just another point of clarification is this is for next school year. So this is not going to be something that is, number one, going to hit our budget this year, and number two, going to be immediately in place, tomorrow. Like this is for August and school year 27.
Okay. Yes, thank you. You want to speak out of turn? Yes. Okay. So again, would like to praise Mr. Gurney on this endeavor. There was a lot of misinformation spread throughout the community on some social media sites on this that, we had to accept behavior students from other districts on a social media site. There was another comment about no need in our district, which is false. Mr. Gurney provided information on that, on our absenteeism notes there. So I just want to thank, Mr. Gurney. He had to, there's a parent that had a concern based on this misinformation, and he had to respond 2 different emails with that parent to try to address that. So I just encourage people in the community, if you don't know all of the facts, please don't just toss information out there, especially if it's disparaging and negative. Please base everything on facts. Also, the post was by anonymous member. It's not good for the community. We're all on the same team here. We should be working together to get the school district in a better place. And when you have people anonymously posting negative things that turn out to be false, is not good for the school district and this community. So, Mr. Gurney, thank you for that. I had lots of questions as well. To your point, usually we have information item on this, and we didn't due to timing, which happens from time to time. So bear with me for a second. I might have some questions here on some notes. Again, I know we like to do questions, but since
An action item.
it's an action item without
With
time
no
to do it,
information.
so
Yep.
no spot. But so from my understanding, this is not a teacher role. This is more of a equivalent of a social worker type position that will work with families. This is not someone that's going to be in the classroom.
Correct. I think it's not going to be necessarily a social worker, but I think what we envision a social worker doing probably is closest to that. Another way to look at it is a family liaison, someone that's really connecting with the families and trying to get services for those families.
Got it. And in year 1, our focus is going to be on absenteeism. So if you look at absenteeism in the school year 2024 to 2025, the data you provided, we have 10.4% of our students were absent for 18 plus days. It was 23 students at MIS and 65 students at MJHS. So this program will help 32 of those. We are capped out at 32. So we will hopefully. Now, the other thing to note of this program is that it does require parent consent. So some of those students might not get parental consent. So that's 10.4% just based on the data from 2024 to 25. So if you think about it, that's one has been absent for 18 plus days. That's pretty amazing when you think, how do you expect those students to succeed in the classroom when they're gone for that? Mr. Gurney also provided 2023 to 24 data on need, and we had 8.8% that year with 18 plus days absent. So 1 in 12 students in the school year would have been absent for 18 plus days. So I think that just based on those stats, right now through partial this current school year with 53 days left, we have 3.9% of our students have already exceeded 18 plus days. 15 at MIS, 20 at the junior high already, and that's 53 days left in the school year. So there is the need there. So I just want to make sure that, going against some of this misinformation that's been provided out there on that. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through my notes here. One of my concerns with this is that there is the need there, but usually, we are, as a board, we're supposed to govern. We're not day-to-day operations. Employees, administrators, or teachers, staff are day-to-day. So in order to govern, usually we have guidelines of what this program, and no guidelines have been given as far as what this employee, he or she, would be doing. And that's a little bit of a concern because I know from past projects that we've done, we've heard from the teachers point blank, that do not pull students out of core curriculum instruction, right? Do not pull them out. So I'm just, without the details, I just struggle with how are we going to help these students without pulling them out of core instruction? Because if they're already missing 18 plus days, they've already missed a significant amount of core instruction. Pulling them out is just going to make them that much further behind. So I just struggle with how are we going to do that without the details. Now, I take that preface with, we have award-winning teachers, we have award-winning administrators, we have, very good people that I'm sure can figure that out. And that's not our job, right? That's your guys' job, day-to-day operations. So I just, again, it's difficult to approve something and govern it when you don't know what you are trying to govern, right? Without the details. But again, I'm willing to take that faith because I know we have really good people here to do that. The other concern that I have is that if we're going to service 32 students, how does this employee, go back and forth between MIS and the junior high and serve those students? It's two different buildings. It's not like it's MES and MIS where you could just walk back and forth. You don't have to get in the car. How does that work? Is there, to my understanding, the employee is not a 159 employee. It would be an employee of the regional office.
Correct.
Which I believe is 56 something.
Yeah, ROE
56, ROE 56. Thank you. So, they're going to provide the benefits. I would imagine they will provide insurance, things like that. If that person is traveling, what happens if that person gets in a car accident? Something like that happens. Where's the liability? Sure. Is it with us as a district? Is it with Regional Education 56? Some of those things that it would be nice to know from a governance standpoint where some of that stuff lays in the program. I do like the fact that it's a 1-year term, and that it is, so if the program is not working, we're not obligated to be involved in this program for multiple years. We can analyze it on a year-to-year basis for the success of that. Mm-hmm. One other quick question. Do we know of any other Lincoln Way feeders that take advantage of this program? None of them do. Okay. Sorry, I'm just, again, I'm trying to go through my notes really quick. But, okay. I guess those are my two big concerns is how is this employee going to go back and forth between the locations and, just not a lot of details on how we're going to help these students. and their support structure, whether it's their parents, guardians, support structure that they have to try to get them. So
Part of this will be a scheduling, kind of make a monthly, very involved, I'll be involved along with the principal at the school. Currently, we do have staff that travel between MIS and MES. We also have staff that travels between MJ and MES. So we do currently have staff that travel between the buildings.
then my last thing, I know we have great staff, but the fact that you also have experience with this in your previous district, North Cook, I guess Cook County is so big that it gets to have a north and a south, where Will County just has Will County, I guess. But so the fact that you have experience is a comforting sign as well for this program. And the fact that if you think about, we're using grant money in year one, and you can service 32 students that are at high risk of falling behind because they're not in the classroom for over 18 days, and we can service those or help those students going forward in year two for $300 a year is pretty impressive. That's going to be a pretty good return on our investment of $300. So sorry, I was long-winded.
No, it's great. I apologize for the lack of information in February.
I'd like to just make, we did get a job description. So you did send us a job description, what that person is going to be doing. Credentials that has, and that was a point that the regional was and it's not just the truancy, it's the behavioral needs. Interesting. Said that this with IEP is completely separate.
It's not intended for children with IEPs, but children with IEPs can be serviced.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
And there were also a lot of people that cared enough to actually reach out and get the real details and figure it out. You spent a fair amount of time today on the phone answering emails. I know we did too. So that being said, it seems like everybody has had a chance to chime in. Kelly Lynn, let's proceed with the roll call vote, please.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost? Yes. Mrs. Tunney?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Andreessen?
Yes.
Mrs. Briscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Information report. Sam, do you have anything you'd like to share tonight?
Okay. Our finance committee meeting was postponed from last week until this coming Monday now, the 23rd at 7 p.m. Oh, Dr. Shaw, tell me if I miss them, but I'm looking at them. We will be going over 5-year financial projections, Fund 21 report, capital plan, student fees, architect and engineer roofing consultant presentation, and committee structure update, as well as have the interested people in attendance that evening to see how the meeting will go for the 2 community spots.
Perfect.
I have a point of discussion. So I noticed that there's a staff member that retired that's on the finance committee. Is there a process that the finance committee is going to solicit volunteers from staff to see who will serve on that committee for this year?
I believe that was also already pushed out to both of the unions to ask them who would like to sit on it.
Okay, and so when will that be determined? At the same time as the community members, or what's the timeline? It should probably be already in place right now, right?
When we set the next committee group, it'll all be set for a 2-year period.
So what we're looking for right now is people to serve for this year. We have not made decisions for this current school year. So will the community members and the staff be appointed for the rest of this school year next meeting?
We were going to allow them to watch a meeting in March, and then Mr. Andreessen was going to circle back to them about who's going to be on the committee.
Okay, so all of the new representatives will serve at the meeting after March.
They'll first get to observe, then we'll circle back to them as far as who's chosen.
And then the next meeting. Oh, perfect. And then the material that was on the agenda for the finance committee meeting, I believe it was last week, typically would have been on our agenda for today. So my question is it safe to assume, I hate that word, that the material now will be on our board meeting agenda for next month? Okay, thank you.
We have not met. Just wanted to note that the Three Rivers Division meeting is upcoming on April 7th, and it's at Chelsea in Frankfurt. Advocacy Day, if anyone is interested, and taking a trip to Springfield is March 24th. And the Resolutions Committee has gone through all of the IASB position statements, and you'll be getting a revised, it may not be in the pretty booklet, but you'll be getting a revised one after we complete all of that. I know you're waiting for that, but no, I just wanted to give you a little bit of update there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you submitted your report earlier. Did you have anything you wish to add?
I can't stop crowing about what happened at the family night with the entire Mokena Elementary School. It was such a wonderful event, and the staff came together so well, but the community was just beside themselves, so excited about that night. They had a really, really good time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I listed here the Galaxy Award nomination form. Please get those in as soon as you can. We're excited to continue that process of honoring community members and staff and students with the Galaxy Awards.
I have two things on this topic. Okay, so I am making a formal request for information for the record regarding administrator contract renewals. I request comparative benefit analysis of healthcare contribution rates from our Lincoln Way feeder districts and Will County districts. I request the administration provide contribution scenarios to the board so that we can evaluate these contracts against market standards before we vote. Typically, these administrator contracts board next month in April. That's my first request for information. The second one is, and I'll preface by saying the superintendent, I really want to commend you and your cabinet for offering the public to, opening the door to two-way communication. Was this week? I don't even know what day it is. Last night. Oh my God. Sorry. I know this. I'm like, is it this week? I mean, so I really appreciate that. And it is, anyway, I think it's really good. And it's important that you put yourself out there and make yourself available. And that's exactly what you did. We had members of the public and staff reaching out. But my second request so I was at the meeting last night and heard parents, and I'll just say I heard people at that meeting and what they said, and I'm glad I went. the significant public outcry regarding student safety and disciplinary procedures, I am making a second formal public request for information. For 2 to 3 years, I've requested disciplinary data and procedural manuals. To date, this information has not been provided. I've not seen that. So, as a board member, as the school board, it's our sworn duty to adopt and enforce all necessary rules for the management of our schools. We cannot enforce what we are not permitted to see. And I have no idea what our procedures are. So here's what I would like to see. All internal standard operating procedures and manuals for student discipline and the MTSS, evidence of compliance with school code, and minutes of the parent-teacher advisory committee, which should be reviewing these disciplinary plans, I'll say. And I'd like to see 3 years of anonymous. We don't want names in this, but just metrics to show us what is happening with disciplinary actions in the schools, and if we can gauge if these are being successful or implemented consistently. I'd like to look at that data. And so I prepared a document to hand Kelly Lynn right now, which is a formal request for this information. So I have drafted it, and it says exactly what I'd like to see. And so I'm handing it to our board secretary right now. I'd like to get that entered into public record for this meeting, please. Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Absolutely. And I think handing something to Kelly really will help us. There is no public record for that to be submitted to.
Mr. Andreessen, may I make a comment? I appreciate that everyone around this table brings something else to the table. And I appreciate that we have differences of opinion sometimes on how to interpret the rules and standards and expectations that we have set. It is not that I don't find the data that is requested useful. It is aside from that request, it's that we are here to discuss issues and not surprise each other with how it's presented. Frequently in the past few months, we've been asked to do things that haven't been asked before, but within the past few months, there have been many instances where people have been literally just put on the spot. I'm not built that way. I'm trying to I don't always get the expectations right and everything, but I just don't like putting people on the spot. I think that everything that I've read on being a board member, and again, I don't always do it right, is that we want to communicate and build a rapport before we get to a meeting if we have an issue with something. And if we're going to ask something, all our questions should go to the board or to Mr. Gurney. And again, it's not that we can't ask questions, but I think the expectations that we've set are to provide a heads up, if nothing else, and to change the expectations unilaterally and put people on the spot makes me really uncomfortable, and that's maybe just a me thing, but I think that we can do better about communication and not putting people in that spot. and maybe, I don't want to speak for you, Mr. Gurney, maybe that did not bother you one bit, but I think we can do better about communicating some of these things so we can prepare better for the meeting. So that's all the statement I wanted to make. Thank you.
So
I
if
would
I
say-
could respond.
Could I respond first?
Sure.
I would say that these are things that Kelly has brought up to me in the past. And I would also say that she and I spoke right before the meeting, and she'd let me know this would happen. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. This is no surprise. So if that's what people think, this is no surprise. I have asked, and the reason that I wanted to make it formal is because I've not received the answers. So that is the reason for this. This is no surprise. I have documents I can show 2.5 years where I've been asking for this information. This is before you, Bob, but it is no surprise, and I did tell Mr. Gurney. So thank you. Thank you for your comments.
I believe the point she's trying to make is you surprise the Philip. But you are directing our staff to work without the consent of the will of the board. And that is-
Are you saying something else?
I am saying
That is not policy. That is practice. I'm quite frequently surprised. I did not surprise anybody. I did not ask anybody questions. I simply stated, this is my request for information, and here you go. I'm not putting anybody on the spot. I'm formalizing my request for information. This is a one-way statement.
Kristen, do you have anything you'd like to share on your report tonight?
No, I have nothing additional. I just want to thank the kindergarten teachers and the students who came out tonight. They did such a great job showcasing their learning and being in front of an audience. So kudos to them. I did also want to say thank you for your consideration for possibly offering some summer enrichment classes for our students over the summer. So we'll look forward to bringing that to you as an action item next month. And then congratulations to our students in my report who were recognized as the ACT Rising Stars as well. That was really awesome to see that over 80% of our students tested above the 50th percentile and higher. So again, kudos to our staff, our families, you all, in supporting and seeing that kind of capstone for our 8th graders of all the work that's gone into their educational career, doing such wonderful things for them as they head off to high school.
Thank you very much. Megan, anything else you'd like to share that was not in the report?
I'm just wanting to draw attention to two areas of my report. The student services shout out this month goes to our wonderful social workers, Sarah, Maddie, Susanna, Christine, Tori, and Jenna, and all the support they provide students and families. Also, in front of you, you have little goodie bags. Sorry, Bob, you didn't get one. I'll get you that later. You got a wristband. I think I saw Sam using her pen earlier. You've got a cute little cowboy pen provided by Special Olympics because this year's theme last year was in our respect era, very Taylor Swift. This year was the Wild Wild Respect. So Mokena Intermediate School and the junior high held their Special Olympics Respect Week, focusing and promoting disability awareness with encouraging kindness, inclusion, and respect for all. So MES they were busy with Read Around the World, the United States. I don't know where we were reading, but they had that same week. So we will be celebrating, what is it, Kristen? It's across America, not the world. It's a big enough country, yeah. So they will be in celebrating Respect Week in May, so you can expect that. We also have Special Olympics, young athletes culminating event coming up, and we have a special education family night coming up in April 23rd. Mark your calendars. We're going to do a touch truck event. You are able to touch the taco truck to purchase tacos at this event as well. So fun event ahead, more details to come.
I don't really have much to add. I would just like to say that since we've been watching, HES has made noticeable improvements in the cleanliness of the building over the last month. So I just wanted to kind of give them a little bit of a shout out.
I think we all noticed that in the report card too.
I do need to make a comment. one of the staff members over at MIS made a comment to Dr. Johnson and said, when did we get the new cleaning company? And it was the same cleaning company, but some of the management has changed, and they're doing such an amazing job and very, very responsive, and we're just so thankful. So thank you, Dr. Shaw, for bringing that up.
I got a comment. It's in Dr. Shaw's report, but it's actually from Mr. Gurney. HES. So we know that they have not been performing to what our standards are. It's happy to see improvement. Like to look at is the report card that you mentioned. Looking at the data, there are some weeks where we get no response. Because when we're trying to measure improvement in performance and stuff like that, and we don't get the report cards, it's difficult to govern and make sure that it's not just that they're improving, but they also continue that improvement once we get to the AB level, and not to see anything. We're missing some data. So thank you.
I have one thing. Just a note on on an information item regarding student fees. The information item here, I don't know where this came from, but this is not the current fee schedule. The Board of Education took action last year. I don't know what date it was, but probably around this time, that the fee for instrument usage be removed from the fee schedule. And that was after much public outcry, and really, it was troubling to me because there was, a difference between how that was applied to some students and not all. And we can't have that. And, this is reminiscent from the days when we were running, our music program outside. And so the board removed that from our fee schedule. So I just ask that when you bring up action, that is not included. And the other point on the information item, on the report here, is the buses. We have 10 bus routes, and there's 13 buses here. And the information item is that we're going to spend anyway, we're budgeting $160,000 for fiscal year 27. So I just want to make sure that action item, or between now and then, the board gets more information on why it's necessary to spend $160,000 on a 13th bus when we only have 10 routes. I have two things for the treasurer's reports, financial and treasurer's report. So one is a point of inquiry I'd like to make on the miscellaneous revenue report. I had asked for the contract with Van Gogh, which I believe is providing photography services for the district, and it was not included in the response. And so can the board get an update? We heard nothing in response to that request, so if we could get an update on that. And just send us the contract. I don't know why it wasn't sent. And then the second point of inquiry is and I asked this before, the district has an amended budget process that we have always, I don't want to say always, that we have historically gone through each year. And last month it was suggested that we are not going to go through that amended budget process. And it's concerning because of our financial position with a larger deficit than any recent previous years. So not going through that amended budget process, what that does is provide a lot of transparency into where we're at and how it compares to what we budgeted. And what was suggested last month and what I had requested last month was information in detail on how shifts are going to happen amongst lines, even within a fund, that shift dollars of our budget to different line items. How will that be tracked, and how will the board access that information? So that is my second request: is the board needs access to the internal budget tracking mechanism, and that also. I asked it last month. I asked it this month. There was no acknowledgement or response. So I want to formally ask again if we can please provide the board access to that internal tracker of how budgeted dollars are being shifted within the fund, so we can understand where we stand financially in the absence of an amended budget process. But my point of inquiry right now is who authorized who authorized the decision to abandon the amended budget process without board input?
So we kind of set up the information items where there's no questions during the information items. If you have a question about an information item, we're going to allow you to send those to me, and we're going to get those questions answered for you.
So what you're suggesting is that I address questions outside of an open board meeting, and right now we're in an open board meeting, and I would like for someone to acknowledge to the board, this is our board meeting, our budget, our process that we typically go through. And so I want to know the answer. So you can email it to me, but I'll bring it up again if we don't get an answer, because I feel like sometimes my questions are just not answered.
So what I'll ask the board members to do is this weekend, when you get my weekly update, send me any information item questions in an email. I'll add that to a document, and we'll get those questions answered for you.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Yep, of course.
And also, we need that, this needs to happen quickly. Like, we have revenue coming in on this Van Gogh, and we are obligated under Illinois School Code to have contract for any revenue over $1,000. There's clearly much more than $1,000. We need to see that. And that photographer, I don't know if it's the same photographer, but I had asked a question, I think, a month or two ago when we had changed the stipend schedule for the teachers, because that photographer, and I had asked, well, where's the contract for the photographer? What is the photographer not doing that now we're shifting it to the teachers to have to do, which is, fine that we're paying, but are we still paying the photographer too? Like that needs to be assessed.
Good evening. I only have to add to my report is if you ask yourself, if you ever received an email and you had a question on it, whether it was phishing or not, and you were at the point where like, this might not be phishing, should I report it? Well, the answer is yes. And no one has done that better than Jenna Enns, our recipient of the Real Champion Award. Jenna has reported more than 20 emails already, and this is 100% acceptable. I highly encourage everyone to do it in the back row that are here. So we need more staff like Jenna reporting anything that may cast a doubt of legitimacy on an email. Be like Jenna and be a real champion. That's all I have to add to my report.
I'm sure she loved hearing that. Thank you very much. We'll receive principal reports, and do you have would like
one finance note, Pioneer Grove and
myself are coming in under budget. And Mr. Engler had Renee, his secretary, make tuition adjustments downward for the remainder of the year. That's it.
Multiple FOIA requests this month. Kind of things. They have either been addressed or in the process. That being said,
I have one point I'd like to make on, are you ready to move on from the FOIAs? Because I'd like to say something about that.
you didn't share anything with me before right now, but what would you like to talk about?
I just want to make a comment of clarification. It's my understanding, Bob, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but there may be some confusion on the timeline that's appropriate for when we have to respond to FOIAs. And so I just want to kind of touch upon that briefly, is that when a FOIA is submitted, it's my understanding that that is not day one. Day one is the next business day. So, and it's only business days. So if it's a holiday, that doesn't count as a day. And so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that based on what I have seen, we are responding to FOIAs in the time frame that we have to, and that it's potentially just a misunderstanding of the required time frame and how the days are counted. So that's my only point I want to make.
Thank you, Lincoln. I apologize. Items for the April 15th agenda. Feel free to follow up with me later. I know we talked about some items that will be coming up for next month that were in information this month.
So Jim, I think that we've established, not established, the 5-year projection, financial projection will be presented next month. And I think all three of those will be on the agenda next month, right?
That's our plan.
Okay. Okay, well, we need to see it, right? It needs to be at a board. Okay, all right, thank you.
I have some. Thank you. A couple things from the library. Tutor.com is free at the library. So that was a service that popped up on my radar in the latest bulletin. So I thought I would mention that, that free service. And it's probably a little premature, but their library of things that they have everything from baking pans to Wi-Fi hotspots that you can rent. They're putting together instruments now that kids can rent. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'm going to promote it early, the wheelchair basketball event on April 29th. It's one of my favorite events. So I'll say it again next month too, because it's one of the really cool events. Brings a lot of energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. The Mokena Lions are hosting the annual Easter egg hunt on Saturday, March 28th. It starts at 12. If you are there at 12:01, it's already over. It goes really fast, and those kids have a great time. It's at Mokena Main Park, and there's a lot of nice people that come together to do something really fun for the kids. If you've ever been out there, it's like watching the scene from Braveheart when all the kids just run out and get the eggs, and it's a really nice thing for all of them. So thank you to everybody that participates and enjoys that day.
I can confirm that the start time is 12 o'clock and the end time is 12:01.
Yes, just about, yeah.
I have one thing. I really want to just highlight how well we did at that musical. The kids were wonderful. We have such talented kids. The director did a fabulous job. We had, I think it was somewhere between 75 and 90 kids that were a part of, whether it be cast and crew. There was tremendous parent involvement and volunteering to build sets and it was fabulous. And we sold so many tickets. I think that the count was about 900 tickets. I talked to Dina and Luke about it. And I mean, that's substantial. So and that's a community event and that was good for Mokena. And I just, congratulations to everybody who put on that production because it was wonderful. Thank you.
I'd like to remind families that kindergarten enrollment for the 26-27 school year is open. So please help spread the word, especially if you have neighbors or someone that you know that isn't a current Mokena school district family. They can check out our website. They can go on our social media. The sooner we can get our future class of 2039 registered and enrolled, it really helps us from a planning perspective for next school year. So please help spread that word so that we can get everyone enrolled.
Mrs. Zelinski? Mr. Andreessen? Mrs. Briscoe? Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. McMillan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ost? Mrs. Tenney?
Yes.
Let's take it 10 minutes. Pardon. Good night, everyone. Thank you.